So I want to talk about slowing aging with nutrition. And the reason I'm showing these pictures, and I'm going to come back to that Golden Girls picture at the end, is I want you to feel that we actually have more control over how aging works than you think. And I like to use the analogy, I used it this morning. A lot of us sort of think of aging as this kind of passive process, you know, that we're sort of stuck. I like the analogy of, say, a wooden table. You've got a wooden table, you leave it out, it's on your deck. You know, I live out here in Georgia, so we get lots of rain and we get lots of sun. And I think they have termites, although I thankfully haven't seen any yet. And so you've got your table out there, right? It gets rained on, it gets sun, it gets heat, it gets cold. Maybe the termites find it. So what happens to this table over time? It decays, it ages, right? It falls apart, it splinters, the paint fades. You know, everything you don't want to happen to your table happens because time takes its toll on this table. And so the thought is that that's how we age. We just kind of sit around and we're just waiting to get old and die. And yes, you know, there are things you can do to get stronger and there are things you can do to learn more, but we're all kind of marching with time. We're all kind of marching with the clock and we're all kind of getting older. And what I'd like to convince you of is, number one, we have some control over our aging. And you could see these beautiful people that have aged very differently than many others. But it's easy to do, and there's some good evidence to back a lot of this stuff up. And you know, as I said this morning, and I'm fond of saying, nutrition research is horrendous, and so it's not as good as most of the forms of research. But the stuff I'm going to try to say today, and I'll tell you when it's not, but most of the stuff I'm going to try to say today is really pretty well supported by research, and there's pretty good data. And I doubt that most of what I'm going to tell you is going to be wrong. Maybe some, but not most of it. All right, so here's the first thing. What is aging? Well, what is it? I mean, what do you call aging? If you were to define someone as aging, what would it mean to you? What does it mean if someone's old? Time passing. Older than the day before. Good. You had something? You said you had something? Mm-hmm. Declining, right? Declining. Good. Yeah, I agree. More experience, like wine. Very good, very good. All right, so getting wiser, good. So aging doesn't have to be a bad thing. I like that. I like that. Although probably none of us are afraid of getting wiser, but we are afraid of the other stuff. So what is the other stuff? When you ask people what aging is, what does it mean to be old? You know, you get different things. So one thing that people might consider aging is, you see actually a couple symptoms of aging here, but one thing you might consider aging is looking older. You know, I don't know how strong this guy is. I could only see him from half the neck up. He may be like a weightlifter. I don't know. I don't know how smart he is or how capable or how many hours he's working, but he looks old, doesn't he? He looks old, you know, and so one of the common things of aging is how you look, and that's one thing that many people worry about. He also has another commonly associated symptom of aging in this picture, was he's got a hearing aid, which a lot of people, as they get older, their hearing deteriorates. But this is one of the most common. If you ask teenagers, what does it mean to get old? They're going to tell you, you look old, like you look wrinkled, like this guy. Another common description of aging is that you have chronic diseases. So here's someone clutching their heart. Maybe they have chronic heart disease, heart failure. They've had a heart attack before, perhaps. They've had strokes, or maybe they have cancer or some other chronic illness. They may still look fine, but they've got chronic medical problems. That would be another common form of aging. Another one, and this is subtly different than the last one, is disability. So disability means that you're either not able to get around, or you're not able to quite take care of yourself, or you couldn't really do the tasks that you could do before. And you know, it's heartbreaking. You read these stories about some older people, and they want to walk, and they're trying to cross the street, and it's a busy street. And you know, the light changes. You have a certain amount of time. You can see it ticking down sometimes, depending on the state you live in. So they go up to the thing, and they start crossing, and they're crossing the street when the light turns, and the clock is ticking down, tick, 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 tick. And they're walking, and they realize they're not going to make it across the street, because the thing is going to change before they've crossed. I mean, this is sort of a devastating thing, and it happens to a lot of older people. And that's because they're not able to move with the same speed that they had before. They may not have broken anything. They may be able to walk without a cane, but because they're walking so slowly, which you may not think is a big deal, they can no longer cross the street. And so what's going to happen to someone like that is they're going to stop trying.